I'm with Dr. Lauren Kokai, Dr. Peter Fodor, and Dr. Peter Rubin, the authors of the award-winning Best Research Paper 2017 in ASJ. The first question I have was, what was the impetus for doing this wonderful study?
You know, this study, actually, I can speak to that, was born out of a wonderful collaboration with our group and with Dr. Fodor, where we were capitalizing on the fact that patients were having their fat banked early on in the genesis of commercial fat banking, and that we were able to use that opportunity to gain new scientific data, because Dr. Fodor had patients who were coming back many years later, a decade later, and having a new fat harvest.
Lauren, will you go over the key findings of your research?
Absolutely. So there's always been debate on whether the potency or the strength of stem cells is maintained with age. And through a longitudinal analysis from the same patients, we were able to show that the stem cells remain, the adipose stem cells remain very robust. They remain multipotent, and they retain their function, which was a very exciting finding over time.
I would agree, exciting indeed. Dr. Fodor, Dr. Rubin intimated that you have been preserving, banking your patient's fat for a number of years. So you're obviously a visionary. Can you go back and just let us know what the impetus was for that?
Well, it started about 15, maybe even 18 years ago. And at UCLA, we started looking, as they did Dr. Rubin, separately, at what was the subcutaneous fat, whether it was a good source for stem cells, because everybody was getting stem cells from bone marrow. And to our greatest surprise, at least at UCLA, and I think Dr. Rubin may agree with this, was that subcutaneous fat was abundantly rich in stem cells, more than bone marrow per volume. This was very surprising. So at that point, I started mentioning to patients that if they wanted to bank their stem cells for later potential use, as the research was evolving, this is again 15, 18 years ago, and a lot of patients have opted to that. And there was a place called the Stem Source, and that's where we're banking their stem cells. I would have never been able to do this study on my own. I have to give them credit, because when I went with the idea to Dr. Rubin, and I said, wouldn't it be fun to see whether we can get back the same patients, at least one or two, we are hoping for 10, but we get back some patients where we can harvest stem cells, use the same methodology that was used 15, 18 years ago, and compare the viability, etc., potency of those stem cells. And thanks to their fantastic laboratory and their brain power and whatever, they're able to do this. We ended up only with 3 patients, but the findings were so similar from our 3 that it has some kind of solidification and verification of the data.
Your work is the perfect example of translational research. And that's how this specialty was built. That's how this specialty will maintain its leadership with visionaries like the 3 sitting next to me here. So what I'd like to do is, Lauren, ask you if you can go into some of the projected clinical applications of your work.
Absolutely. So we're at the Adipose Stem Cell Center in Pittsburgh, we pride ourselves on conducting very rigorous and thorough scientific research into the safety of the stem cells and into the potential applications. So now we're currently looking into clinical applications. What might be the mechanisms of action where we could use these cells, and how can we use these cells to study properties of fat in the laboratory?
Peter, I've always known you as a researcher, clinically a fine surgeon, obviously your leadership as the chair of your department, an educator. Tell us a little about your lab there, and obviously you have wonderful PhDs like Lauren working with you. If you could just tell us a little about the lab.
So our Adipose Stem Cell Center at the University of Pittsburgh has been around for over 15 years now, and Lauren and I co-direct that laboratory. It's a wonderful, collaborative, multidisciplinary laboratory. We have surgeons, we have scientists with expertise in materials design and fabrication, biomaterials, molecular biology, cell culture, tissue engineering methodology, and we collaborate very widely across our university landscape and across institutions all across the U.S., as you see from this collaboration. And that collaboration is really key in drawing those connections between what we do in the clinic and what we do in the laboratory, how we vision the future and bring these discoveries forward is so important. And that's why this teamwork is so important.
Well, we thank you for your contributions. We thank you all for keeping us as plastic surgeons right up at the spearhead of this research. As editor, I thank you for choosing to publish your work in our journal. I congratulate you all, and I'd be remiss if I don't say I'm waiting for your next paper.